Qweqwlútes Kupáca. My name's Aaron Leon. The piece I have in the show right now is Qweqwlútes Kupáca after the Sek'láp Anthropocene. Porcupine and Coyote talk about the Anthropocene. So this photograph kind of came as an inspiration from a course I was taking at UBCO with Tanya Willard and Bush Gallery. So we were talking about the Anthropocene and kind of its impact on our current society. And in talking about this and kind of thinking about our own backgrounds and Indigenous knowledge, you kind of get thinking that a lot of the driving forces of the Anthropocene and the detriment that we've caused as humans have been pretty much driven by Western forces. So a lot of resource extraction and not listening to Indigenous knowledge and kind of forgetting about the land and the environment and keeping those relations intact. So in kind of thinking about the Anthropocene, it's a specific geological age that represents our own impact on our environment. So in thinking about that and thinking about the concept of time, it got me thinking that, well, we have stories about before humans, and that's kind of what I represent here with the Kupáca and Sek'láp, Porcupine and Coyote. So there's stories of them before us, and there'll probably be stories of them after us. These stories will probably exist in continuum without us. So it was I thought it would be kind of funny to see, like, okay, what if Kupáca and Sek'láp were just kind of talking about the concept of Anthropocene and are coming back and just kind of being like, well, what's going on here? Like, we left it to the humans to kind of take care of the land, and this is what we get in return. So yeah, that's kind of what I highlight here. We can see like the environmental impacts of our roads and infrastructure building. We can see the effects, the leftovers of tourism, and like the Indibi River is a really popular floating spot, and every year we just get so much excess garbage and waste everywhere. So we can see like the leftovers of that, and more so because this is reserve land, so people seem to treat reserve land differently than they do other land. Yeah. The two characters, Porcupine and Coyote. Coyote is a pretty famous character. He's kind of known as the trickster, shapeshifter character. He's always kind of the character that always goes above and beyond to kind of try stuff out that we learn from his mistakes, kind of thing. Porcupine, to my knowledge, there's a lot of stories out there, so I don't want to be looked as an authority on anything. But Porcupine is kind of like the story that I always kind of think of is the story of how Porcupine got his coat, which is referenced in Indigenous, and that story kind of reflects on how Porcupine was kind of naked, didn't have his quills, and there was kind of a conflict that nobody really was up to task to resolve, or they didn't want to resolve. Coyote tried, but Coyote was too lazy to go. So then Porcupine, the underdog, kind of puffed up his chest and, well, if nobody's going to do it, then I'm going to go and do it. And Porcupine successfully navigated the conflict, and in return got gifted this coat that Porcupine has today. So he's kind of like a hard worker, go-getter, and I kind of, in the back of my mind when I was thinking about this piece and other images I want to shoot for this piece, Porcupine is kind of like one of the forces to me that's going to come back and come and do the work and kind of inspire us to be better to our environment. Okay, so it was supposed to be overcast, so I didn't feel bad having like Annie Cook and my auntie in the costumes because they got really warm, but it ended up being a sweltering hot day. So it was a pretty tight, short shoot in reality, but it worked out in the end. The actual shot itself, I ended up packing my camera bag and putting in a garbage bag and kayaking over from this spot to like over here to shoot across because of the lens itself was pretty long, and that was kind of like the framing I had in mind going into it, and I couldn't really achieve that anywhere else. So yeah, it's kind of just like paddling along in the kayak across the river to get the shot, and then yeah, the actual shot itself was just set everything up on a tripod with my large format camera, large format cameras are a little bit more of an old school camera. The negative itself is 4x5, so it's like about that size, where most cameras maybe go to that size. So like the image resolution was really nice to work with, so it looks pretty crisp. This shot itself was actually, I think, an accidental exposure that I think I didn't plan on doing. Well, when you do large format, there's a lot of things that can go wrong because it's all manual every step of the way. You have to remember to, everything has to be closed, and somewhere in there it was really hot, and I don't know, my brain goes fuzzy in the heat, and I was doing everything, and then I thought I shot it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know. So then I just kind of took it out, and I guess I had shot it. So in the end, it was the one that looked the best. Other ones had other stuff going on, like people were going by, there's cars and trucks, and it just didn't really look how I had imagined the shot. So yeah, just kind of one of those chance occurrences. Yeah, when I was thinking about this piece, I knew that I wanted to work in kind of like a bigger context, and I wanted it to be like a backlit piece, because I've been kind of working with Lightboxes for a little bit, kind of like a DIY Lightbox. But this was the first chance that I had the opportunity to make it like a bigger piece. So in the back of my mind, I always kind of wanted this to be a light box. And I just kind of like the way that the light kind of illuminates the picture onto the viewer. Yeah. Because for me, the viewer is a couple different things in this piece. I really wanted, like I said before, I really wanted this piece to kind of reflect a lot of Indigenous knowledge for Indigenous people. That's why I thought it was really important to have the Secwepemc language here. So if any other Secwepemc people come, this would probably reflect more, and they'd probably be able to read different things into this. Maybe they would know some of the stories about Porcupine and Coyote. They probably know stories about Coyote for sure. So yeah, I kind of wanted that to happen. And then for non-Secwepemc people, yeah, I really wanted them to kind of think about the way we use the land, the way Indigenous knowledge is represented, and the way that they might not know Indigenous knowledge, and kind of why that is, because yeah, our knowledge, there's been a great effort done to make sure our knowledge is not known, even from ourselves too, like with residential school and stuff like that. Yeah, there's quite a few online resources, like the dictionary project I've been working on. First Voices has a lot of our language on it. We have our own language YouTube called Splatching1, where we have Indigenous on there now. And I'd say for people who are tourists and traveling through, research whose land you're on and who's around you, and go to the people, if you can. Yeah. It's been really nice to be a part of a group show at the Salmon Art Center. I've kind of been working with them for a while. When I first got back from Montreal, Tracy had reached out for a project, and yeah, it was kind of like one of my first forays into showing art around here. So it was really nice, and yeah, I really appreciate the opportunities to be able to show art within my own Secwepemc territory. I guess I'd just like to thank all the people, ideas, and thoughts around this piece that I was able to draw on, and yeah, help me come up with this, because I know my name's on the wall, but I wasn't the only one a part of this, even if, yeah, if it was just a small conversation here and there. Yeah.